Muted everyone. I've unmuted everyone. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I noticed that the meditations are very different. So there are some days where it's very light, very connected, other days where the tension is immense. So could you just speak a little bit to that difference in the meditative experience?
Well, each meditation we bring with us, the moment we're living in. And some moments are very light and airy and easy and fun, and some moments are very difficult. Neither of these two moments detract from a spiritual life because we need to learn to work through the difficulty, and we need to learn to take the lightness of being deeper inside ourselves. All of it works for us. You understand? It's just a matter of how we approach it and what we do with it. I mean, there are classes I have that, are very difficult, and I have to struggle to, get to the other side of them. But I don't feel that that is, an obstruction to my spiritual life. It's just getting me stronger. It's teaching me how to work through my stuff. And I've had this for many years, and I'm sure all of you have situations like that. So it's just a matter of what, I mean, it could be astrological. I know Mercury is going into retrograde in a few days, and and it starts, you begin to feel that kind of heaviness and difficulty. And it's just a matter of what we bring to the class. That's why I always tell people that before meditation, you should try and relax, do something that really relaxes you, that gets you quiet, and don't bring the whole day's tension to the meditation class. So all of that is part of the growth process. And I've never known a difficult day that ever obstructed my need to have a spiritual life. It just made it stronger, and it taught me how to work through my tensions, my difficulties. I mean, this last week has been particularly crazy for me. I mean it, particularly crazy. And I have to work through that. And I can't allow the kind of stuff that took place this last week, to interfere with these classes or interfere with my spiritual life. So, it's really what we bring to it. You understand? And it's why I always tell people you need training. You need to learn how to do this. Otherwise, the obstructions, the obfuscations, use a bigger word, they just hinder our growth. You understand? We run away from them. Everything has to be hunky-dory, fine, light, and life isn't that way. Life is a series of events that take place, and I always say that if something positive happens, it's always going to be followed by something negative. Something negative happens, it's going to be followed by something positive. It's the way energy manifests here. Understand? Conflict, duality, right, wrong, all of that stuff that we're trying to work through and get to the other side of. So the duality doesn't interfere, with our spiritual growth. Just another thing we have to work against. And if you work against it in a deep and profound way, it just makes you stronger. I mean, I remember Rudy once told me he never met an easy person. I never met an easy person. And I thought, yeah, he's right. I've never met an easy person. My life, including myself. I'm not an easy person. I've learned how to burn it up unless people present me with so much bullshit that I just say, okay, it's enough, And it usually takes 3 or 4 words to get them to shut their mouths, But you know, I know what I have worked through in my own life. And it wasn't some gravy train, you know, it wasn't some, you know, easy, you know, path that I took that got me to what I'm doing today. No, it was a very difficult path. And all the way through that path, I understood it was me that I had to work against. It wasn't the external world. It wasn't the people in my life. It wasn't the politics, the economic. It was me. I had to get past me. I had to learn how to transform me into a person who had enough training to have a spiritual life. And I keep telling people, that's why when, you know, it kind of bothers me when people come to one class a week, one class every, you know, and eventually when they do that, I just take their names off my list because there's nothing I can do. I can't give people training who come to a class once a week, once every 2 weeks. You understand? It doesn't work. You know, I mean, there's one person, I mean, it was extraordinary to me, you know, well, put me in, let me go to the European classes. So I put this person in the European, the American, and that person still shows up every 2 weeks for a class. So I finally just took their name off the list. I mean, it's just stupid. It doesn't work. There has to be a commitment. And well, I asked for what? You know, there's 165 hours in a week. And I asked for like maybe 4 or 5 hours out of 165. Hey, it's almost absurd, you know? That kind of commitment, though, coming to class, getting training, making the extra effort, it gives you the capacity to work through whatever level of energy you bring to that class. And using everything to get to God instead of blaming the world for your problems and the things that are wrong with you. So no two classes are going to be the same. You know, 40 some odd, I don't know how, I've been doing this a long. I have never had two classes that were the same in all the years I've been doing this. And whatever my state of being is at that moment, I have to work with it. And I'm telling you, years ago, it was really, really hard because I was pretty tense. And I would say not tense, but intense person when I was younger, very intense. I mean, I'm like a pussycat now, you know? I mean, when I was a kid, boy, I tell you, I don't know how anybody put up with me. But it's finished, you know? But years of training enabled me to transform that. And then there's another element to this, which I think is really important. You know, it's an element of going past oneself. I mean, many people are just self-centered and self-orientated about their life. And everything they choose is about themselves. And this really is a path to the grave, you know? It's got to be openness and service and doing in the world and, you know, being generous about your life and sharing it with other people. I mean, that whole self-service thing, it doesn't work because it creates a little prison that we live in, that no choice is made unless it serves ourselves. And that's really not good. It's not healthy. You know, we need to be able to share in life, to compassion in the world and open to other people and, you know, and be of service to God in the world. And you're not of service to God if you live in a self-serving universe. And a lot of people do that, you know, they live that way. Every choice they make. I mean, I can't, you know, every choice I've made in the last 50 years had to do with dealing with other people. I remember when I had to leave my loft on 13th Street, I had to find another loft. You know, I had to spend 3-4 months looking to find a place. I had 100, 150 people. And people say, well, why don't you buy a house in Brooklyn? At that time, I bought a house in a beautiful brownstone for I don't know, $200,000, probably worth $3 million today. I said, no, I have 100 people coming to meditation class. What am I going to do in a brownstone? My life has always been that way. And because of those choices I've made, it enabled me to expand and grow, even to do these classes on Zoom. You know, I mean, it's been a year now, 7 of these classes a week, you know, I mean, probably 60 to 80 people a week that come to these classes. And I have to do them, mostly because I need to grow. I need to grow. And hopefully those of you that come benefit from this, you know? But one can't live in a world of self-service, because I'm telling you, it's just a very fast path to the grave. It goes nowhere. You know, one's life has to be about learning how to serve God. And that has to be all inclusive, not just what I like, but what do I have to do to grow? What do I have to do to serve God? What do I have to do to get to a place in myself where I am really open to a higher force of energy in the universe? I mean, this is one of the keys to growing. Because I'll never forget that when I had a big blowout with the landlord in 13th Street when I had this loft, and it got crazy, you know, and I just said, look, just give me time. No, you got to get out today. I said, I can't get out today. I have an ashram I'm running here. I live here. I had a girlfriend who was living there with me then. I mean, it was, how can I get out? Where am I going to go? You know, give me, you know, and I always knew that I had to find a place that would be conducive to running a meditation center. And eventually it came. It was a wonderful place, more than I ever dreamed of. The place that came was staggering. What came? God provided. But that was the choice I had to make. It wasn't like, well, all right, fuck everybody. I'll go buy a house in Brooklyn. I'll have 3 students that'll be able to come to class, and I can make $2 million in 10 years by buying this place, you know? It never entered my consciousness. People used to mention this. I said, no, I can't do that. Somebody offered me a house in Harlem for $60,000. That house is probably worth over $1 million today. And I said, no, how can I do this? I have all these people that are coming to the meditation classes. So what I'm saying is, even where I'm living today, you know, I'm not living here. I made a commitment to my daughter, and God bless her, it really worked out. It really worked out. It's so incredible to see what she has done and how she's grown and how competent she is, intelligent. It's really very good. But, you know, I'm just saying it can't be self-service. It's got to go beyond that. It's got to cost something in life in order to allow God to work through you. And then whatever you bring to your class, you know, it's you. You got to work through it. You don't get discouraged and discredited. I can't do it anymore. Kundalini yoga, it's so hard. No, it's not Kundalini yoga. It's just an exercise, learning how to breathe properly. You know, it's oneself that sets up all the obstructions, all the blocks. And I remember when I got that place on 4th Avenue, it was more than 2 times the rent I was paying in my other loft. So one of my students came, well, yeah, it's expensive. How you gonna? I said, look, I'll sell another painting every month. I'll get the money, you know? And eventually the rent and everything I was paying there became minimal compared to the return I was getting for my life, both financial and spiritual on every level, you know? Does anyone else have a question? they would like to ask. I mean, this is a tough one to swallow, but it's really very important. You don't grow through self-service. You grow through serving God, doing what you have to do on the earth to be of service to higher creative energy in the universe. And that really is the key to all of this. We need to learn to live in the world, and we need to learn to be connected to higher energy. And both of these things work together. It works in the world through our service in the world. It works on a higher level because we use the meditation to get open inside to receive God's energy, spiritual energy. Another wonderful thing happened today. I realized, I've been thinking, where am I going to move to? I was thinking of moving to Ecuador, to a place called Cuenca. And I said, wow, it's just a beautiful, beautiful place in the Andes, old, place probably built originally in the 17th, 18th century. Apartments were like, you can get a 4,000 square foot apartment for $700 a month. Staggering. Places that cost 30 grand a month in New York, you get for $700 a month. And then I realized something today that was very important, and it took a big burden off of me. Doing these Zoom classes, I'm connecting with people all over the world, all over the world. And I guess, at this period of my life, this is what I'm going to be doing probably for the rest of my life. Doesn't matter where the hell I live. Wherever I live, people can come. I can have in-person classes, but I'll also do these classes. And I think that was a very big thing. I don't have to move to Ecuador or Mexico. I was thinking south of France would have been cool. I like the south of France. And it just came to me, Stuart, your responsibility is to people all over the world. And you have to sustain this responsibility by doing classes like this. And those people that want to come to wherever I'm going to be living, they're welcome. You can have in-person classes too, but it just took a big load off of me. And I said, you'll be able to find a place now. You're not, yeah, you would like to live in Cuenca, it's a gorgeous place, I said, and then I discovered the temperature in Cuenca is between 40 and 65 degrees all year round. I said, it's a little too cold there. But at any rate, I was looking for this kind of paradise to live in, or a place I could really, and I said, that's paradise is inside myself. Paradise is in my heart. Paradise is deeply inside every human being, and that's where I'm going to find and do find paradise, not in some place. Look, I've lived in drop dead place. I lived in Marrakesh, for God's sake. It'd be a place I would love to live in too. It's a fantastic place. I've lived all over Europe. I've lived in Greece. I lived in Germany. I've lived everywhere, God knows. Paris, almost for 5 years, off and on for 5 years. So I have no shortages of wonderful places. And I always discovered that if I wanted the best place to live, it was in my heart. That is the best place to live. Because that's really where the love is, the joy is, sweetness is. So I think having surrendered, serving myself and where I want to live, I think now the place is going to come. It really will come. Yeah. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Just want to thank you for this meditation class and all the words and Shakti that came through everything you just said. Just want to say an extra thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, dear. It's my joy and pleasure to give it to you and to everyone else here. Yeah. My job is to give everything I've learned away and to recognize that every single person that comes to these classes is a great treasure. I mean, somebody wrote me an email the other day. I told them, you know, I'm really busy. I have, you know, 60 to 80 people that come every week to my meditations. Well, you know, they wrote me back an email. Well, that's the laundry list of people. You got to deal with people like me that are really the great students. And I said to myself, oh, fuck. Here's a person I really don't want in my life. It's terrible, you know? Every person is a treasure. Every one of you is a treasure. And every one of you deserves the highest level that I can possibly bring to your life, you know, so that you too can hopefully grow and bring it to somebody else's life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, well, you all have a wonderful weekend. There'll be class on Sunday. One last thing, you know, as of the 1st of June, people are welcome to come here. They want to spend a day, 2 days. One person signed up for a month. They're coming to stay here because they want to come to study with me here. You're welcome to come. There are contingencies, though, which I have to abide by. The first one, as I told you all, if you want to come to a class in person with me in my apartment here, you have to have a vaccination. And I'm not interested in people's conspiracy theories and all this nonsense, you know? I mean, maybe it's not nonsense because for years I never wanted a vaccination. I never believed in it. I never did it, you know? But this is a different story. I mean, you know, 600,000 people were killed. And I could still carry that vaccine, you know, that disease and give it to somebody. And I don't want people bringing it to my house. So that's one contingency. The second contingency, that while I do it in this apartment, I can't have more than 2 or 3 people at a time. So people will have to make reservations and come, and we have to organize that. You know, if somebody has an Airbnb somewhere and we can do it there, then I can do more than 3 people. But we have to work all of that stuff out. But God bless, you know, to me, this is a major step forward in moving towards eventually having a center, starting to open this, my life up to people coming and studying in person with me. So please, all of you, have a very wonderful weekend, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. And God bless you all. And we'll have a meditation class on Sunday.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
You're welcome.